It's that time again. It's episode number 2 of Leeds United Pride of Yorkshire. So yesterday we showed you around the club, we showed you the finances, the club visions and expectations, and also showed you who we're going to be starting our season against. In today's episode, we're going to be showing you some new signings, the players that we release, and we're going to see what happens in our first pre-season at Leeds United. Here we go then, jumping back into the game, and as this is the transfer episode and the pre-season episode, I have a kind of plan as to what I want to do with this episode. It might be a bit mad, but hear me out, I think this will work. So what we're going to do is start off here with this little introduction. I'm then going to jump forward to every time there is a piece of transfer news. So if we list a player and we get the money we want, we'll show you what we get. If we put bids in for players and we manage to secure them, we will jump forwards to that signing. Along the way, we may cut in with the pre-season games. I don't know if we'll show you any footage, but certainly show you the outcomes and see how we are getting on. So then, the first thing is first, let's list some players and show you if we get some money for them. Here we go then. So, as I said, we are going to list some players and hopefully get some offers. And this is exactly what we wanted. So, Rodrigo was one of the ones that we thought we might be able to move on for a pretty price. As it turns out, Moneybags Newcastle are interested in absolutely everybody in FM22. And they are the team that are going to pay us £30 million for Rodrigo. I think that there is a great bit of business if we can get that one over the line. And then the next person that we were looking to move on was Luke Ayling. And again, we are putting him up on the market for around £18 million. They've lowballed us a little bit and tried to offer 13. So what we're going to do is try and get 17 out of them. Suggest that Wolves like the deal, £17 million. And we'll jump back when those two players are no longer Leeds United players. Here we go then. The first piece of transfer business done in this save is Luke Ayling going to Wolverhampton Wanderers. It took him a few days to get the deal done, but it is now complete. He's going there for £17 million, and every single penny of that will be added to the transfer budget. So we're going to go and adjust the sliders a little bit. Let's do that whilst we are on camera. And we are going to give ourselves a nice new wage budget of around £1.2 million. So drops our initial budget down to 7 million, but we are getting that 17 million added to our pot. We're going to accept that. And Luke Ayling is now a Wolverhampton Wanderers player. Also, one little bit of funniness to bring you. Remember the Jolly Lads Arsenal thing? Well, we played that game just, and we demolished poor Jolly Lads Arsenal. They weren't very jolly by the end of the game. We finished 7-0. Goals from pretty much everybody in the first team who played. Rafinha, Shackleton, Rafinha, Bamford, Rafinha, Bamford. We had an impressive 39 shots, 16 of those on target with an XG of 4.44. Poor little Jolly Lads Arsenal really didn't know what hit them, and we won 7-0. So then, hopefully the next time I come back, we will have moved Rodrigo on to Newcastle United for 30 million, and then the fun really begins. I said the next time that I popped up, I wanted it to be with Rodrigo shipped off to Newcastle, and that is exactly what has just happened. So it's the 16th of July. They dragged their feet a little bit getting the deal done, and then with the work permit needing to be granted, it finally has gone through, and we are set to receive £29.5 million of that £30 million that we are going to receive. And Rodrigo takes his £100,000 off of the wage bill and also gives us some nice transfer spends. So the building process is about to begin. But before I do any of the building, got a few more updates on the friendly games. So we battered poor Geelong 6-0. If the shots on target were impressive in the last game, we had even more this time with 41 shots, 19 on target, and XG of 5.79. So it's good signs for the tactic. I know that we're playing subpar teams and they are little Singaporean teams. But we are producing, and goals are coming. And this time we had goals from Shackleton, Bamford. It's got Bamford. Oh, missed a penalty. Bamford then scored on 39, 52, and Shackleton scoring. So actually, two players sharing the 6 goals, and we were quite impressive. Looking at all of the stats, I think that we have a tactic that is going to work. And then we played another friendly against Geylang International and won 3-1, and again had 28 shots with 9 on target, and XG of 3.59, and goals from Click got 2, and Rafinha scoring the other one. So that's us up to date with the pre-season. We have sold the 2 players that were the priority on the list. We have now received a combined £47 million. Let's start spending some money. Okay then, it's time to start welcoming some players to Leeds United, and the first one we're going to be unveiling is Adam Hodzic. We've signed him on a £7.25 million deal from Sparta Prague, and I think he's a player who is going to fit into our system quite well, can play off of the left, can also play through the middle, and I think he, with his base stats, is going to take some developing, but he has great physicals to start the game, pace of 16, acceleration of 16. You can see his dribbling, his finishing, his first touch, it's all there. I think he's a player for the future, and at the age of 18, £7.25 million is an absolute snip. We are going to confirm that deal, and he's the first one across the line. The next one is going to be Pablo Tor Torre. He does come without a work permit, unfortunately, which means that we are going to be seeking a loan straight back out for the player. But I do know from looking at FM and some other videos and some Wonder Kids lists that I know that this kid is going to develop into a world-class attacking midfielder. So let's have a little look at him. You can see straight away that core set of stats are there to propel him into being a fantastic midfielder. He already has the passing of 15, technique of 15, vision, off the ball, flair, agility, natural fitness and pace could do with a little bit of tweaking, but I think once we send him out on loan and he develops, I mean, he's 18 years old and we are paying £1.9 million for him. I think he's a player who is going to come good for us if we can get that work permit sorted out in the future. So let's get that one done and over the line. And then the third player to arrive on the same day is Benjamin Cesco. He is a player that I have heard so many good things about. We've took him on an initial loan deal. We are paying £268,000 per month for him. We are paying 100% of his wages, which are £4,300, and we have managed to agree a future fee of £8.25 million, and I think he's going to be an absolute steal. I've seen a Wonder Kid video or two on this guy, and he turns into a world-class striker. And if you look at the top left-hand corner there, his value by Salzburg is 8.6 to £14 million, and we're going to be signing him for less than that in one season's time. So hopefully we're going to use him as a bit of a rotation player, maybe put him in for some cup games to begin with, rotation with Patrick Bamford. He may even steal Patrick Bamford's place looking at those stats. So let's get that deal confirmed, and those are the first 3 players in at Leeds United. We're going to jump forward because there's a few more to come. Before we reveal the next signings, I almost forgot, there were a few more pre-season games. Now, we are out in Singapore, so the expectation is that we should be beating these teams. But we beat Siglap 7-1. We had 40 shots with 16 on target. It's quite ridiculous. Loads of goals there. And then in the next game, we rounded out pre-season by smashing Singapore Cricket Club. Maybe they should stick to playing cricket. We had 45 shots, 19 on target, an XG of 6.76 and scored 14 goals. There's so many goals here. going through them is just crazy. You've got Click with the penalty, Luzc, Click, Cesco, Luzc, Harrison, Click, Harrison, Cesco, Click, Cesco, Gelhardt, Koch, and Gelhardt. Um, Absolute craziness. I want to say that this means that the tactic is going to work. I certainly hope it's going to work, but certainly looking at that, going out to Singapore is not really the thing to do for pre-season because we didn't learn anything from that, and we have just smashed some Sunday League teams basically. So on the horizon though is the Newcastle game, so we're going to find out exactly how good this tactic is, if it's any good, when we get to that game. But first, let's get those other players into the club. So another day, another player, and this time we are set to unveil Karim Adaimi. He is a player that I'm very, very excited about in this game. And again, we have gone back to Red Bull Salzburg and stolen one of their bright prospects. A complete fee of 17.75 million, but only 15 million up front. I think this one's a bit of a steal. He starts the game off pretty raw in terms of talent. Obviously, a 19-year-old who is looking to make his way in the real football world. He's finishing as a 10 maybe isn't what you're looking for a front man, but I think looking at him, pace and acceleration off either wing, maybe opposite Rafinha on one side, or if we need to rotate players with Luzc, Rafinha, Adaimi, we are really going to be building a team that can attack quickly and incisively, cutting in from the wings, and also he's a makeshift forward in case Cesco, Bamford need some time out or are injured. So another exciting addition to Leeds United is Karim Adaimi. Let's press the accept button and get that one done over the line. And let's move forward and see if we can get anybody else in before that Newcastle game. We didn't have to wait long to get the next one in. The next player that we are welcoming to Leeds United is Matthew Zinho, and he's going to be the right back replacement for Luke Ayling. He's a 20-year-old Brazilian, so he did need to come in with a work permit. Luckily, we got one quite easy. A £4.9 million deal has been agreed. When we look at the player, you can see why he's probably going to be on a lot of Wonder Kids lists. He is quick, he can tackle, his technique is good, his vision, his work rate. He's a Brazilian wonder kid, and quite frankly, I think at the age of 20, he's got so much room to develop that he will turn into a bit of a star for Leeds United. We are going to hit that accept button, get that one over the line, and move forwards and see if there's anybody else we've got up our sleeve. So another day, another update, and two more players to unveil. The first of which is the centre back from FM21 that everybody was talking about. He is Ahmed Hodzic. Hodzic. Yes, he is absolutely massive. He's 6'5" and stands commanding in central defence. You can see by his stats, he won't be a every single game player. He's going to be a player that we will rotate in and out, but we have swooped in to snap him up, and he's pretty much a bargain. 7.25 million up front, rising to 9.5 million pounds. He is going to be a squad player who will hopefully build his way into the team. Nottingham Forest, they're getting in on the action, getting 1% of the transfer fee. But yeah, a player that we were looking at in terms of shoring up the defence. I think he's a player who will do great alongside Llorente when he plays, and it's a bargain for the price that we are paying. So let's press accept, get that one over the line. And the next one I am very proud to say is we are going back to Red Bull, but to Leipzig this time. And we have snapped up Tyler Adams for £13.5 million. He's a player in the last game that I actually looked at quite a lot. I managed Leipzig. He didn't really break into Leipzig's first team in the last game, but looking at him, he's a hard-working midfielder who has a core of stats that will fit in well with Leeds' system. Work rate is high. His off the ball positioning, his passing, his marking, his natural fitness is good. His stamina is good. I really think that he's a player that will settle in well with Calvin Phillips in that midfield three, and I think we're going to build a solid base in the centre of the park with Tyler Adams. So we're going to hit the accept button, get that one done over the line, and that's another 2 players that we have at Leeds United. So there's a couple more left to come. Fingers crossed we'll get those deals done soon. We have also announced a friendly game against Real Sociedad, so that is on the horizon now. But let's jump forwards and see if we can get the other 2 players across the line too. Right then, it's time to introduce the last 2 players on the transfer list that we had of targets. I have had to jump ahead, as you might be able to see, and confirm one of the deals already because we had to do a little bit of adjustment in the budget. But we have signed and we are introducing Suffolk Moanta. He's a player who I managed last year on FM21. I did a series with an Englishman abroad where I was out in Wolverhampton United, and I know that this player can develop into a bit of a world star. He may not be on the radar of some of the other players because he's a Thai international, but trust me, if he develops like he did in the last game, we have got ourselves a bargain. Unfortunately, he does come without a work permit. However, we have agreed to loan him straight back to Wolverhampton United, so hopefully he can play in the games that he needs to get that work permit sorted, and we can get him back at the club for the long term. So, have a little look at him. He has all those core stats that you want from a striker or a winger who can cut in from the inside. He has decent pace, acceleration, agility, determination is good. He has good off the ball, dribbling, finishing, first touch, penalty taking, and technique. As I said, not the finished article at the age of 18. He will need to go back out on loan and will come back to us in the future. But hopefully, playing with a higher calibre of player when he does finally come into the team will turn Moanta into the player that we want. So we hit the accept button, get that one done. And then the last player to come in this transfer window, I think we have really spent all of that money unless we can move another 1 or 2 players out to get another couple of players in. This is one that I'm excited about as well. He's Reuben Polido. He's a centre-back and he comes from... what's the team? Fuenlabrada. He is a 6-foot centre-back, so not the tallest of centre-backs. He isn't also very quick, but where he is good is his technique, tackling, marking, his passing from the back, his work rate, and vision. I think he's a player who is a bit of a rough diamond. We'll bring him into the first team, hopefully build him up and develop him as we want him. And I think he's going to be a bargain for £2.5 million. And certainly he'll be one for the future. So another player done. Let's have a little look at the transfers that we have done. So there's those 2 just about to be confirmed. So in this window, Leeds United as a club will have spent £110 million and we have received £47 million. A lot of the deals were done before we arrived, but we have got Hodzic, Tor Torre, Cesco, Adaimi, Matthew Zenio, Ahmed Hodzic, Tyler Adams, Moanta and Polido. So, again, like I said, I don't think there's much money to spend left. Let's actually have a little look at the club finances. Yeah, club finances say there's £2.3 million to spend. So we are right on the cusp of what we can do. Might have to move a player on, might not. But we're going to push forwards and then push right up to the Newcastle game. We'll show you what happens against Sociedad. But push up to the Newcastle game and then we are almost ready for episode 3. So as promised, an update on the pre-season game that we played against Espanyol. And we actually drew 3-3. We were quite impressive in terms of the way we played. Again, we created 20 shots, had 9 of those on target, had an XG of 1.57. We scored 3 goals. Karim Adaimi scored, Tyler Roberts and Calvin Phillips. So, all in all, a decent pre-season in the build-up to our first Premier League campaign. There was 2 little bits of news that I needed to bring you as well in terms of transfers. So we announced Suffolk Moanta, got it done, pressed accept and everything, and then the very next day it actually cancelled the deal, saying that we couldn't afford the deal. There was £2 million left in the transfer funds. The deal was for £1 million, couldn't get it done. it's definitely one we will revisit. And then the other player that we obviously had and couldn't keep was Pablo Tor Torre. I'm gonna go with Torre, I think. So we had quite a few offers coming in for him, and we ended up loaning him to Rapid Vienna. I think it'll be a move that is going to be good for him. They said they will give him first team football, so hopefully they will hone his talent for the first season. And once he starts to develop as a footballer, we'll get him back at Leeds United. Here we are then, we have moved all the way until the eve of the Newcastle United game. And this, funnily enough, is going to be the first game that Rodrigo will look to get revenge straight away. Hopefully, we are not going to give him that revenge. We are going to get off on the right foot. But you're going to have to wait for episode 3 for that to happen. One thing I will do, though, is I will reveal what I think the lineup will be for that first game. So going into the tactics screen, it looks like we are going to start with Melier in goal, Firpo, Ahmed, Hodzic, Llorente and Dallas. Phillips will play as the defensive midfielder with Click and Adams as the roaming playmaker and the central midfielder. Rafinha on the left, Adaimi on the right, and Bamford up top. It is open to change, and obviously this is episode 2, not episode 3, so I have time to still change that up. But looking at it, that is the team I think that will probably play the first game of the season. But if you want to find out, you're going to have to tune into episode 3. So then that's episode 2 in the books. We have done some wheeling dealing that I think Harry Redknapp would be proud of. We inherited £47 million from 2 transfers going out. We spent 47, tried to spend £48 million for players coming in. I think that in terms of the problem areas that I saw in the team, centre backs, midfielders, and a forward, we've covered all of those. Signed some really good players that are gonna hopefully enhance the reputation of the club by playing some attractive football, and they will all slot into that system seamlessly. But as I said at the end there, you're going to have to tune into episode 3 to find out what happens next. And at this point of the video, if you're still watching and you're enjoying the content, please hit the subscribe and the like button to continue following the save. I think it's going to get good, and hopefully we're going to lead Leeds United to glory. So for this one, I'm going to wrap it there, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Leeds United, Pride of Yorkshire.